Well, hello, my friend. I'm your host, Conny Graf. Thank you for joining me today and allowing me back into your ears. As a fractional CFO and coach, I'm blending Swiss precision with strategy, soulful guidance, and astrology to help you align your finances, system, and self. So today, I want to talk about something we're all dealing with more and more often without noticing. How deceptive packaging can shape our truth, and why the grass isn't always greener on the other side of the fence. So please listen all the way to the end, as I have an invitation for you as well. And just as a little side note, actually there was a different episode planned for today. I wanted to announce that I updated and upgraded my Animal Ally quiz, where you find out your dominant element. But the upcoming Mercury retrograde is already playing games with me, and not everything is working on my website, which really upsets me because I was working really hard on it. So we're talking about deceptive packaging today instead of my Animal Ally quiz. But don't despair. It's coming. Hopefully next week, if not 2 weeks from now. Okay, back to the deceptive packaging. So when I talk about deceptive packaging, I don't mean only the packaging of products, right? But also the packaging of information, of media, politics, and the subtle forms of manipulation that often shapes us without our awareness. Especially these days, we have to be so careful to believe what we see, because AI now can create images and videos that look real but are not. I remember, for example, seeing on Instagram a video reel where a baby was alone on the front porch and a big black bear jumped up and towards it. First, I was really shocked, but then I saw the word Sora, S-O-R-A, as a watermark on a video, and I realized it was AI generated. At least I saw this little watermark. But I wonder how many people didn't really pick up that this was AI. We just talked about it today amongst some friends, how some people saw videos and they thought they were amazing and then realized, oh, they are AI. I also have another, more extreme example. I saw, and it really upset me a bit. So you may or may not know that polar bears are very dear to my heart. In 2002, my best vacation ever was up in Churchill seeing the polar bears. So either way, then I was on Instagram again. I believe it was Instagram. And it showed me that video where it looked like a cleaning crew was scrubbing a polar bear with brooms, as if they were helping it get rid of something. It looked like mussels or like weird grubby things all over the coat, like it was covered basically. I couldn't quite tell what it was, but it was something, right? And the people were just standing right next to the polar bear, and it seemed the polar bear seemed to love it, right? To love the being scrubbed with brooms. And under the video, there were heartfelt comments by people were saying, thank goodness for these rescuers that helped this poor polar bear. But now, let's be honest, this is pure AI-generated slop and junk. Because in reality, polar bears are not covered in mussels or whatever weird thing that was. And no real crew would be calmly brushing a wild polar bear without being in serious danger of getting attacked or being eaten. After all, the polar bear is the most dangerous mammal on Earth. But this AI slop looks so convincing that many people believe what they see. They believe what they hear. These will be then the same people that will approach a polar bear if they see one, right? And that's not so way off, because here in Canada, I've read articles where people actually sat next to injured grizzly bears or black bears to take a selfie, right? And then they got injured by the bear. Who would have thought? So stupid and so crazy and so sad. So these things, even if they're harmless or silly, that AI produces, which is really debatable because I would argue both my examples are neither harmless nor silly. But even if AI generates something silly and harmless in whatever context, right? It still can shape what we believe, how we feel about us or about the world, and also how we show up. And it's also not just whether it's the truth or not, whether it's true or not, whether it's real or not. There is another component to this on why we have to be so very careful what we believe these days and what not. Because everything we take in, whether through our skin or our attention or through food, right, like eating or information in the mind or something we put on our skin, that all influences our energy field and affects our inner balance and peace. So it's our obligation to ourselves to act with self-responsibility, meaning being discerning and consciously choosing what we consume, first and foremost, and then secondly, also what we believe. And this is to reclaim our truth. We need to look beyond the packaging, both literally and figuratively. And how can we do that? Well, my mentor Silke Schäfer always says that we can get still and ask our body if something is true or not. Our body knows, our soul knows, we know. But of course, we can't just mindlessly be scrolling on Instagram or Facebook or wherever you scroll these days and just let these things like flash by. That's not discerning. That has no self-responsibility, right? Like if we see something like this, whether or not there is a watermark of Sora there or not, we can actually tune in into our own body and figure out, is this really true? Is this really real? Or is that maybe some stupid AI slop? But it's not just AI and media that packages things deceptively, right? We do it to ourselves too. And when we do it, we pretend something that isn't real. And when we look at others who do it, we look at other people's life that is also not real. Bringing in more truth and peace. If we want to do that, we have to look at how often do we get distracted by other people's packaging, right? How often do we look at someone else's life or business and assume it's just easier for them, or that their grass is just naturally greener on their side of the fence, thinking, wow, they have it all together. But the reality, we only look at their packaging. They might not intentionally make their packaging deceptive, but we all have the tendency to show only the good bits to the world, right? Only our good side, our shiny side. And then that's how others perceive our life or our business is, or we perceive it from others. We are all only looking at the packaging. We judge the book by its cover. Sometimes we think another entrepreneur, another business is thriving because they had it easier. But usually there's a lot of behind the scenes effort and intention that we don't see, that the packaging doesn't reveal. I know I have fallen for this comparison game or believing the deceptive packaging of other people or of other businesses. Most of the time, what I realize is that greener grass is just a result of someone intentionally watering, tending, and working at it, not because their circumstances were automatically better than mine. That reminds me of a book that I read by Dr. David Hawkins, and he said, truth has no opposite. He explains there is no opposite to truth, like just like there is no real opposite for light or for warmth. He says darkness is just the absence of light, and cold is the absence of heat. And so untruth or deception isn't a separate thing either. It's just the absence of truth. What I want to say with that is, what I realized is when we're comparing ourselves to someone else, or better, on someone else's shiny packaging, when we're thinking their grass is greener than ours, we're living in the absence of our own truth. We're in the darkness of comparison instead of in the light of our own authentic path. And here is what focusing on truth instead of fighting deception looks like in practice. Externally, everything we take in, whether through our skin or our attention, influences our energy field and affects our inner balance and peace, as I said earlier already. So it's our obligation to ourselves to act with self-responsibility, meaning being discerning and consciously choosing what we consume and what we believe too. To reclaim our truth, we need to look beyond the packaging, both literally and figuratively. I said that earlier already. But internally, if we really want more peace of mind, clarity, or success, it's not about believing someone else's packaging or story. It's about looking within ourselves, finding our truth, our light, our warmth, and doing our work, watering our own grass, choosing what feels true to us and making small improvements every day. So you can ask yourself in a quiet moment, what is something in your life or business that's been bothering you or that you're tempted to compare yourself to someone else? And then, instead of getting caught up in the superficial, in the deceptive packaging, you can ask yourself, what's really true for me here? What does my body say? What can I do, even just for a few minutes a day, to water the grass on my side instead of focusing on someone else's grass? It might not look very magical overnight, but over time, those little bits of effort add up to something truly real. And that's way better than any shiny packaging out there, or any AI slop for that matter. And the magic is in how a few minutes a day, it keeps the chaos away. And with the chaos, I mean all the deceptive information, the deceptive packaging and everything. You get this all away and you come to your inner truth, to something real. So this is what I have for you today. I do hope you take a few minutes and ask yourself these reflective questions. And also next time you see something while scrolling on social media that either looks amazing or jarring, really ask yourself, is it real or is it AI slop? This was really important for me to talk about on the podcast. Not just that you hear it, but also that I hear it, that I hear it spoken out loud by myself, for me and for you. Because I feel this is really important. The more we have this AI stuff out there, and I'm totally not anti-AI. I will make a podcast episode about the amazing things that AI helps me with sometimes. So I'm not anti-AI, but we have to be careful that we're not getting fooled by the deceptive packaging, right? That's basically the message that I want to give out. And also I wanted to say, if you don't feel like doing this introspective questioning of yourself alone, I have a little invitation for you. As I mentioned in the beginning, I started to host a free full moon circle for my community. And if you listen to this right when it comes out on November 3rd, you will make it to tomorrow's full moon circle. It's on November 4th at 4 p.m. Pacific. And I will put a link in the show notes. And if you listen to this episode after November 4th, then just get on my email list so I can invite you to the next one, next month, the next full moon circle. And you will receive an invitation if you are on my email list. I will put the link to the moon letter also into the show notes. Okay, again, my friend, that was what I have for you this week. Thank you for listening all the way to the end and being a supporter of the podcast. I hope to meet you on one of the full moon circles. Have a beautiful and amazing week. Talk to you next time. Take good care and be safe. Bye for now.